for the male. And then we're looking at Brian Fry for baseball, Charlotte for softball, Sturtevant for soccer, all the way down, and volleyball as well. So that's the overall plan. So it's almost exactly what you said. And you should have been in our meeting.
Carrie and I do talk.
But really, that's the plan that we have for each sport. Now, what I'm a little hesitant of, and I'm new to this area, so I'm questioning. I don't want to change something to be changing it. The Little League basketball, you hit right on. If we have some travel leagues that are already in place, we don't want to mess some of that up. So we want to make sure that we don't make bad decisions just to be making a decision, just to be making a change. So we are researching so much of this right now, and we've got a great plan for basketball at this point. And again, I'm going to read through just a little bit. Try not to read it all. Coach Lockridge has met, and myself have met with Coach Flinner and Coach Mann numerous times and got completely their thoughts on how to handle Little League basketball. You've got two or three, and I won't mention any names, but you did, that they're going to be under each head basketball coach. So we've got a great plan to have travel team in basketball and city league in basketball, because again, we do not want to, our job as educators and our job as leaders of the Alma School District is to involve every student that wants to be involved. And we do not want to have a select team only. We don't want that. We want every kid to be involved in what they want to be involved in at the Little League level. We're also discussing a lot of stuff that will lead up to the Friday nights, as I say. But I guess what I'm asking is be patient with this Little League, because we really are working hard on it, but we do not want to make a decision too quick. And if we do that, we want to research it and we want to make sure we do it correct, because if you do it and it's the wrong decision, then you got to go back and do something different. So we tweaked football and we feel like it went well. And then next year football, since you got 4th and 6th grade this year, it might be 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th next year. It might have one team of each age that travels. So Little League is so important, and I believe wholeheartedly in Little League athletics, and I think that we need to continue to look at how we can improve that, because I am a true believer that if our Little League gets in the right areas and we continue to improve it and continue to coach the coaches, then by Friday nights, we're going to be better off. So I believe where we're going is solid. I believe that in 2 meetings or 3 meetings from now, we're going to have more solid information on basketball, because it just started. But I'm telling you, I'm all for volleyball, softball, soccer. We're having a little soccer stuff out at the field November 19th or something. So we're going in the right direction. And I tell you, I've been an athlete my whole life, and athletics and co-curricular activities are so important to students that we need to make sure we start and get them in the right area. But I asked the board and I asked the community to stay with us. And I promise you, we're taking this, and Coach Lockridge is working very, very hard in getting the community involved. And I know some people that have been a part of that, and we appreciate y'all very much. And I'm looking forward to getting to know y'all better. But Coach Lockridge and Flinner and Mann have worked so hard with what they're doing, and I know Coach Fry is going to work hard too, and all of them are. But Sturtevant is working, already talking about some Little League soccer stuff. So a lot of things that we want to do, but be patient, and I promise that we're going to try to get there as best we can. It's just going to take time.
On the travel league, city league, for the football that you've actually implemented this year, is the cost, how's that work for the cost? And
20.
Is it the same between them?
I don't think I know. I can't tell you exactly
I got you.
that.
And if
the thing is, it's about the same cost, but the parents are
obviously the
have
expense
to pay to get
exactly
to the games.
Exactly. And if a kid wants to they're not turning anybody away on travel teams?
So we tried at the beginning of football to say, okay, how many will sign up, or how many teams will we have? Well, it was just so many, they signed up 23 and 26, I believe. So it worked out almost perfect. And that was one of our discussions. Okay, we open this up and say 60 sign up, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, they all sign up for travel.
We're gonna have to have that many travel leagues. So it worked out almost perfect this first year to figure out how, if it really works. And we've been very pleased with it. Now, we have to tweak some stuff, but growing pains, we'll tweak it as we go. But I know it's been, and the cheerleaders been traveling too, so we're getting more there too. So it's been a good deal. And I'll say one thing that a lot of coaches didn't like is the very first time that we play somebody opposite of us is in 7th grade. You know, and that's, you know, you're always beating up on each other. So I believe this is a step in the right direction. Alma Little League is there. You got 255 kids, and we just need to tweak some stuff. And I think we're in the right direction. I really do. And I'm very excited about working with the basketball now and baseball and softball and all that too. So I'm confident, really am. I believe we're where we need to start. Not where we need to finish, but where we need to start. And I never want, again, we want to get it in the right position that nobody has to leave Alma to go to Fort Smith to play Little League football. I mean, I think that's our goal, or basketball or anything else. I think that should be our goal, that we have what we need here. We just need to tweak some stuff and make sure that we keep moving back. And I believe we will. I really believe that we're in the right direction.
What would be the best way for like the parents that are here now? I know several parents that are here with kids of that age. And it sounds like you may have already had some of them involved at this point.
Let me say this, I have had a limited, every time they had a meeting, I had meetings and had surgery, that Coach Lockridge, Coach Mann, and Coach Flinner has met with some community members, just like they did in football. Coach Lockridge met with football. So the bottom line is we want the community involved in this. But what we also want is Doug Lockridge to be the head of it, and then each head coach in the high school level will be the secretary, and then we have community members underneath that. And we have to be all on the same page to make sure that when we get to Friday night, they know what a beer's called. You know, we won't call the same stuff. We want it, you know, we won't, I hate to say it out loud, but pit Airedales. You know, we want to start down at 3rd grade, and we want them to know that they're going to be Airedales forever. And I'm going to close on this. When I was in Fort Smith, I always hated it because we had 2 schools, and you couldn't go down and say, okay, you're going to be a Southside Maverick or a Northside Grizzly, because you didn't know where they were going to go. So you couldn't go down and teach them your stuff because you had no idea where they were going. When you come here to Alma, by golly, I know where I'm going. I'm going to middle school, then I'm going to high school, and then I'm playing. So we need to get all on the same page, and we are. We're getting in the right place. So I tell you, I'm fired up, and be patient. And I will say this too. High school is 0-5 this year, but guess what? Everybody has bad years. And in the last 7 years, we won 3 or 4 conference championships. Hey, it's just we're working, and it's going to get there. We're going to get there, and just I hope the community stays with us because we're going to do it. I have no doubts.
Last question, I promise. Who would be, for somebody here tonight or somebody watching or anybody interested, who would be the contact person if they wanted to call and say, I want to coach or be a part of it, or I have an idea?
This has been an issue. I'm trying my hardest to be the athletic director today because Coach Lockridge has football, and I'm trying my hardest not to rely on him, but he's jumping in and he's doing it. So either contact me or Coach Lockridge or the head basketball or the head high school coach. But if you want to come to me, then I guarantee I'll get you in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I think you all know, the State School Board Association meeting is in early December, and their legislative body, every board has the opportunity to send a delegate to that meeting, so it's the time for you all to select your delegate.
Historically, it's been the new people, and it was me last year, so it's not me this year. So
It is on the Wednesday afternoon of a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday conference, so before we go nominating, is there any? It's gonna be one of y'all two.
So y'all can flip a
So
coin or.
which one wants to volunteer?
Sean, you-
Oh, it's
you
fine, it'd be
available?
fine.
Doesn't matter.
I'd move to,
You're the secretary, right? So you sign all this stuff. Take one for the team.
Guys, it's pretty painful.
I'd move to nominate Sean
about
as
30
the
I'll
Alma
second that.
delegate.
I'll second that.
All in favor with a right hand vote?
Okay.
Congratulations.
The next item on the agenda is
Thank you later.
just a formality that state rules require us to do each year. We have made no changes at all in policy. Anytime, we changed some policies last winter, and we've not made any changes since then. But the state rules still require in the fall for the board to formally adopt our policy manual. Now, of course, it's online, it's on our website, 2 or 3 different places that you can get to it. And let me say again, you're not adopting anything new here. You're adopting the policy manual as it exists and as it has existed since last February.
Have a motion to approve the handbook.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
This is the next item, item E, is another thing that we have to do each year. If you look at the second page of tab E, these are companies that we do business with that the ownership of that company is in some way related to an employee of the district. So all of these relationships have to be publicly disclosed, and that's what this does, is publicly disclose the companies you see listed there. It tells you who the employee is that has a connection to that company, and what that connection is, and what the nature of the business. And this is just a public disclosure document.
Make a motion to adopt a resolution for compliance with Act 1599.
Second that.
All opposed? Aye with a right hand vote. Sorry. All in favor? Any opposed?
Item F is a similar document, except it's different for a school board member. Many of you know that Mr. Brister has, for many years, had a pumpkin patch that is very popular for lots of young children. And many schools, us included, take school groups to it. For us to be able to continue to do that, this document and this disclosure would need to be approved, that we as a school district are conducting business with a school board member, and he has to leave the room now, for us to be able to do that. There's 2 different levels of this. There's a dollar threshold below which we just have to adopt this, and this is within that range. If it's above that dollar threshold, then it has to be approved by the state. That is not true in this case, because it's not at that level financially. So this simply just states that he does run this business, he is a school board member, and that he will be engaged in a business relationship with the district.
Move to adopt the board member ethics disclosure resolution.
I'll second that.
All in favor with a right hand vote? Any opposed?
Should I let him back in? John,
Do it.
you're too slow. Last item on the agenda is a student transfer. This is, you can see there on the form, they give their reason for the 2 children to wanting to continue as they have been in Van Buren. This is not students that are changing from Alma schools to Van Buren schools. They're already there. It's just that they moved their residence. And, we've approved many of these. As I mentioned to you before, we have significantly more students coming to the district, to Alma, than we have going to other districts. But this is a case where they actually are going to remain in Van Buren.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the
Second.
transfer.
All in favor with a right hand vote? Any opposed?
Well, I think maybe we managed to stay in session long enough that it quit raining.
I've got something I want to add to
Okay.
the agenda.
I'll make a motion to add the ACE questionnaire for the middle school to the agenda.
I got something else to add to the agenda after that as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what's the
So is there,
I'm gonna add the ACE questionnaire from the middle school to the agenda, please.
is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you, I'm sorry.
ACE questionnaire for the
Oh,
middle school.
Okay,
A
okay.
second, all in favor of adding that to the agenda tonight, right hand vote? Discussion on
Want to get everything added and then go through it?
that? Oh, so we, do you have something too?
Yes, separate from that, I'd like to add.
Okay.
I would also like to add to the agenda tonight, we discussed back in our study session, the policy of, with competitions and teams and stuff out of state, where the first place is allowed to go, but second place or greater is not allowed to go. And I think that's something I'd like to bring up to talk about as a board and either make a motion or discuss.
Second.
All in favor to add that to the agenda also? Right hand vote? Any opposed?
All right, so if you just want to bring that ACE up and we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, do we have discussion on that?
So that was a questionnaire for children at risk that was given in the middle school. Got a lot of angry phone calls, a few angry text messages. It's been explained to me that we're not going to do it the same way going forward. I'm satisfied. I think the heart was in the right place. Delivery was maybe needed a little polish. But I think Mr. Wolf, if he would be kind enough to give me some comments, he and I have emailed. And I think it's a really good explanation. That explanation was out to the public. I think it would resolve a lot of everything, if you don't mind.
Very well. Happy to. We had some counselors attend Adverse Childhood Experience and Resilience Summit fall of 2018. And they were then at this summit told about this potential questionnaire that can be given and the history behind this questionnaire. This questionnaire comes from a study done back in '98 where they looked at different childhood, adverse childhood experiences and the effect that it has on an adult. And what they found was, as 10 different possible adverse experiences that you could have as a child, the higher number of those you had, the greater chance of having some of these particular things happen to you as an adult, which included, which was very surprising when I saw this, increased heart disease, suicide rate, attendance at work. There were all kinds of factors that linked to having a high number of these adverse childhood things. So they were told that they could give this survey to our students and we could look for students who may have a lot of these so that we could work on developing their resilience to overcome these as a child. So we gave that questionnaire. Looking back, we probably, as Mr. Brish pointed out, would need to do some revamping of that to make it a little more appropriate for that age level. And since that time, it's kind of been put out there where the survey is very well known now within our community. So the validity has kind of been compromised of that. So I don't even know if this is something we will continue to do. But what we were planning with it was the students give us a number, score, that's all we see. And we have their teachers, in their advisory, where we talked about before, trying to build relationships with kids. You've got these kids that have these particular scores you may want to build some relationships with. So if they do have these adverse childhood things that have happened to them, they may feel comfortable coming to someone and having someone to talk to about it. And we can try to help them overcome that. That was our intent. There was no intent to do anything wrong with this or to harm anyone, not to make any of this public to anybody, what anybody's scores were or why they were taking these scores. It was to give us a chance to try to help kids. And that's where we're at. And if we do continue, it will definitely be changed. And like I said, there's a very good possibility because of its compromise that we may not even use this particular method again. Although I do want to look for something where we can help target kids and look for those who are having difficulties. Any questions on any of that?
I would add, similar to probably what Sean heard, I heard quite a bit over the last week about it. But I appreciate, I do think the intent is in the right place. The wording was, in my opinion, very intense. But I appreciate the conversation you and I have had this week, the discussion, and what I'm hearing tonight as well. Okay. Appreciate you looking into it.
I did have a parent ask if they wanted, if what their child put, is it getting saved into a database, is that something they could contact the school and say, we want this deleted, and I didn't know the answer to that.
There is, the data was collected through a Google form, so in a Google sheet there is the name and the score, not what they put down. So it's just a number based on what they said their adverse childhood
Okay.
things were.
So,
And that can easily be
eliminated so that that's not out there for anyone to get hold of.
Thank you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the next item of the, classify the first and second.
If I may, Chapin, you know, we did discuss this last summer at length, and I came away from that conversation understanding clearly what the sense of the board was, and that was that we, and you correct me if I have this wrong, but that we would continue doing what we were doing, that is, as a school district, groups or individuals that qualify to go to the next level as a first place finisher or as a winner or whatever, we would continue our policy of supporting them and the district paying 50% of the cost, and they would either they individually or their support group or their booster club or whatever paying the other 50%. And then the change would be beyond that, individuals or groups that qualified as second place, third place, fourth place, we would register them. They would be officially going on our behalf. They would be, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, they would be officially going, but that they would pay, then they would be responsible for all of the cost. Now, and that's the way we've been moving forward. Now, we have not widely publicized that to staff yet, because almost all of that takes place in the spring. We've been planning to, we just haven't done it yet. If the board wants to do something different than that, or wants to give us different direction, certainly that's fine, but that's the premise under which we've been moving forward since last summer.
The reason I brought this up is you and I discussed this previous to the September meeting, and that's what, I'm in agreement with everything you just said on my personal feelings, one of 7 here on allowing kids to do that. I had then talked, I've had multiple teachers reach out to me the last several months for long time, over a year now, wanting to see a change in this. And we talked about it in July, they were excited. I think they just want to know, that's why I brought it up tonight.
Okay.
Because I'm telling them it's changed, but they're not hearing anything.
We'll take care of that.
From the people that need to tell them that.
We'll take care of that.
So I'd make a motion that we formally adopt a written policy that indicates what you discussed.
Okay.
So,
I would second that.
Okay, no problem.
You want to take a vote on that? Does everybody understand what we'd be voting on? All in favor of that with a right hand vote? Any opposed?
I will, in the next week or so, get that written up, and I'll email it to you just to be sure I say it right. Okay? And then if you can give me a yes or a no, or a tweak, or whatever you want to say about it.
Perfect. I appreciate it very much.
You bet.
and before we adjourn, we went really quick on moving the meeting. So I'm just, overall, as a big picture, I'm not in favor of moving the meetings, just as a matter of principle. And on that one, I can't make the other move. When you move it, I won't be able to attend. So
I agree with you. I don't like to move it. I didn't tell you at the time. I was asked to serve on an out-of-state panel by the American Association of School Administrators. And the meeting starts on that Thursday in Denver, and that's the reason.
I understand. I think we have Mr. Biggs give you a report.
Okay.
I think we just have a meeting at the regular time and roll on.
Or I go with his pony.
That'd be kind too. Y'all can sort that out.
So on November 12th, you would not be able to attend a meeting?
That's correct.
We don't have. It doesn't have to be the 12th. Would you be interested in maybe making it the following Tuesday instead of the preceding Tuesday?
I'm okay working with me. My concern was last month we moved it for an hour, and then we had at least 2 people who had come to attend. And
Of course, we did that pretty much at the last minute.
I know.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't like moving it either.
It's your fault.
I'm fine with leaving it. I agree with Sean, if that's agreeable to everybody else, either way. Because I understand.
The deal is I work a lot of nights. It's really difficult for me to move them. So
Would you?
I don't know what's on the agenda for November, that if there's anything super critical that, you know.
Well, let me just say this. I have a lot of trust and faith in these guys, and I don't mind you meeting. I don't mind you meeting without me as long as you don't do anything to me.
I don't think we can do anything to you if you're not here, right?
If we want to try give that a try, it's okay with me. Go ahead and leave the meeting at the regular date, and we'll just see if they can handle it.
Well, and I think, too, we could then look at, I was looking at the rules, they allow phone-in even for board members, so we could try that with you also.
Sure.
With technology nowadays, if it is, because,
We'll make that work.
okay.
So we'll leave the November meeting at its regular time. One thing it just hit me just a second, it's not on the agenda, let me just mention it right quick. Several of you are planning on going to the regional meeting. It's at the Fort Smith School Service Center, which is right beside Ramsey Junior High. And we'll just, since it is right here in Fort Smith, we'll just meet over there at the appointed, I think it's 5:30, is that when they say it starts, so. Yeah.
And then the conference 11th through 13th of December.
In Little Rock. We'll get information to you
I was about
about
to say,
that.
when have y'all committed before?
3 nights. 2. 11 o'clock. So, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second that.
All in favor with the right hand vote? Any opposed? Thank y'all.
John needs to signature. Contracts.
I'll get it to you tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll get it
got to be before you get the
Right
before you get it.
I need this picture.
What?
Alternate. Picture of you and the.